Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, World Alternative Media here, and of course we're joined by author and economic analyst here at WAM, John Sneisen. So we are looking at a $32 trillion shortfall in Social Security in the United States. John, can you go into this?
Well, it's been apparent that we talked about this before, that they have a massive amount of unfunded liabilities, which means things that they promised the people to pay to them that they don't have. Of course, it's about $200 trillion, the total of it. Maybe a little bit more. It depends on who have calculated it. But it's missing. Like, there's money that is not there that they promised people. And I'm going to quote Lawrence Kotlikoff. He says, we're not broke in 20 or 30 years. We're broke now. And he says, all the bills have been kept off the books by the Congress and the presidential administration for 6 decades. So they basically have been pushing this away. They haven't told anybody that they're screwed and that they don't have the money that they promised. And remember how we were talking in another video about the Brazil austerity? Well, I think the United States is going to be in for some massive austerity. And this is, of course, now they promised all this. Now they're going to enslave you. This is the next step that's coming to the United States. They're going to, say like, well, listen, we don't have any of the money we promised you guys. And they're going to say, well, tough luck. You're going to have to come and beg, for any little penny that you can get from us. And then do whatever we tell you to do.
Historically, when things like this happen, we see some massive riots. We see massive runs on the banks. We see...
Well, we see it already, some of it in the United States. Look at the most heavily socialized places in the United States, like Detroit, like Chicago, like California. Look at where they're heading. A lot of their... municipal governments are bankrupt because they promised, their pensions and so on to all of their people, and they're getting bankrupt, some of the biggest pension funds for the government. So what we're seeing is the world is going bankrupt, basically, and the United States was the last one to really get hit very hard, which they are now. Like, now they're going to really start seeing it over the next couple of years. They are bankrupt. Like, the United States is bankrupt, Canada is bankrupt, Norway is bankrupt. Everybody's bankrupt because they've been running on this fake fiat debt train.
Yeah, well, with that said, John, how does the quantitative easing, the insanity of quantitative easing, come into play with this whole situation? Because I hear that this is a big part of what they're trying to...
Well, somebody talked about solutions, of course, of just printing the $32 trillion dollars in the shortfall. Well, what is that going to do? Like, that's going to suddenly create mass inflation.
I don't understand why these people think this actually helps, that you can just print stuff and it'll be of value.
Well, the thing is, they need to print the money to make the debt cheaper that they had before, but the problem is they're creating a perpetual cycle.
Of course.
So it's just getting more and more cheaper the debt, but you create more and more debt on top of it. So it's just a cycle that you're never going to get out of, and it's going to fail.
It always has, always will. We've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cases throughout history of this kind of stuff failing. Print, not money, it's currency, because money needs a store of value, currency doesn't. They just print massive amounts of currency out of thin air, which creates devaluation, which creates debt and inflation, and then we see the people having to pay for it with taxes, with inflation, and then the interest rates. And then, of course, just these artificial systems, markets and monetary system, we just see a perpetual cycle of debt and destruction, and people always ask for more and more, but really what it does is just drive people into servitude more to the state, which is exactly what the state wants, which is exactly what the central banking system wants at a global level, is servitude and debt. They thrive off of debt, and that pushes people into servitude, which is exactly what they want all along. So this is really sad, and it's just a continuation of what we've been talking about for so long.
Well, what people need, what is the underlying thing here, is that people can't be dependent on the state whatsoever. And that's the problem, that you have this massive social security program. You have them in Norway too, massive pension programs that the state has for people. And then suddenly it's going to come to a point, we had our CPP here. It's going to have to be increase how much money we that pay taxes have to pay into it, because there was a massive shortfall here too. And it's just going to continue and continue. And then, of course, they're going to have to take some of that money that's there to save their asses down the line when they really go bankrupt. So there's really no money left for the people that they promised all this to. And you need to be independently taken care of by yourself.
Like, people should try a little kind of, people see it as extremism. People call it crazy nowadays, which is really a sign of our times. But show them your shirt, John. People need to try a little bit of freedom. That's absolutely. So we will be back at you with much more. Thanks for going into this, John. We thought we'd just do a quick report on it, and this is so important. People need to keep staying tuned to what we're talking about here at WHAM, because so much of what we're saying is unfortunately coming true. So we'll be back at you with much more. See the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you good people. Any donation is very much appreciated. And of course, check our links in the description and in the comments for ANARCHAPULCO in Acapulco, Mexico. You can save 10% on your tickets to ANARCHAPULCO by typing in promo code WHAM. That's WAM. So definitely check below for that as well. And we'll be back at you with much more. This is Josh Sigurdson and John Sneisen signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.